Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to this week's Monday live stream. If you are joining us later, if you're watching this replay, as usual, go ahead and, skip ahead a few minutes if you want to get to the Apple TV Plus content that we are doing today, because usually at the beginning of a live stream, it takes a few minutes for people to kind of drift in, of course. So we're going to give them a few minutes to drift in and just kind of shoot the breeze a little bit before we get to Apple TV Plus, which is coming out this Friday. I'm guardedly excited for it, but the weird thing is it doesn't seem like anybody else is. So, I don't know. Maybe some people are. Old Turtle Cozybot, welcome. And Cozy, congratulations on your win during last Friday's live stream. We did some giveaways. Cozy won that giveaway. So very excited for that. And Michael, we'll wait and see. Yeah, we will have to see if anybody cares. Because right now, it seems like Disney Plus is sucking up all the oxygen in the room. And so it's like, nobody seems to be talking about Apple TV Plus. But like I said, I'm guardedly optimistic or excited for it. I guess we'll see how it goes. Anyway, Jared, nobody cares. Like I said, I kind of care a little bit, but the problem is I'm kind of paid to care, right? So, let's see. It'll be the end game for Netflix when Apple TV Plus launches. Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Will Apple Plus have horror movies? That's a great question. We will get there. We'll be talking about the content that you'll get on Apple TV Plus. They get no more money from you. No more. Well, they have a way of sucking you in one day. So maybe they won't do it through Apple TV Plus, but I'm not an Apple guy. I think their products are fine. I think their products are good even, but there's something about the cult of Apple that's always kind of thrown me off a little bit. But even I get sucked in. I bought an iPad recently that has been doing me pretty well. So it's only a matter of time before we all get sucked in. Okay, so Apple TV should buy Netflix. Well, that ship has sailed, I think. Possibly. I don't know. I suppose it's still possible that they could. But anyway. Let's see. Today's live stream, by the way, for those of you just joining in, like I said at the very beginning, I give it a few minutes for people to join in. It usually takes about 5 or 10 minutes for everybody to drift into the live stream before we get into the topic of the day, which today is Apple TV Plus. And today is going to be a much more relaxed live stream than Friday's. If you were there for Friday's live stream, that was bananas. We had nearly 400 people tuning into that live stream and all chatting at once, and it was mayhem, and it was a ton of fun. Today's going to be a lot more relaxed. Obviously, I'm wearing my relaxed hoodie, so I must be pretty relaxed. Anyway, let's see. Let me pop over to the chat box real quick. How to activate Apple TV Plus if you bought an iPhone. That is a great question, Halim. I am not sure exactly, but I believe so you have Apple TV Plus already installed. Like I've got it on my iPad. Apple TV is installed as an app automatically, and so on November 1st, if you recently bought one of these devices, presumably they'll simply activate your Apple TV Plus subscription. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I've looked into it a little bit, but I haven't heard from Apple if they're going, if it's going to be retroactive. Is it anybody who bought an Apple device after the announcement of Apple TV Plus? Is it only people who buy the devices after November 1st? I don't know exactly. So that is going to be something that I will address on Friday. So coming up this Friday, it won't be a live stream, but I will be testing out and reviewing Apple TV Plus on day one. So I'm going to wake up early in the morning, watch a few of the shows, play around with the interface, try it on a few different devices, and I will release a video on Friday to let you know what my experience has been with Apple TV Plus on that day. And I should be able to answer questions like that. So if you are curious about it and you want to know it as quickly as possible, make sure you're subscribed. Obviously, not just subscribed, but that you've got the bell icon on, so that I can let you know on Friday when that comes up. Okay. Chris, that's a weak nickname, man. That's a Craigimal. Craig, yeah, it's weak. You got to come up with better than that if you want me to use it. Curly, Friday was fun. Good. I'm glad you thought so. David Rakowski, the last thing the world needs is yet another streaming platform. So I disagree. I've talked about this in a few different videos. I disagree that we don't need more streaming platforms. What the streaming platforms, what this is doing, sorry, this is a bit of a digression, but I suppose it is relevant with Apple TV Plus coming out this week. It used to be that if you wanted TV, you could get network channels over antenna, with the old bunny ears that we used to put on our TVs. You could get those network channels, or if you wanted the cable channels, it was all or nothing, right? With the exception of the premium stuff. I'm not talking about HBO and Cinemax and that sort of thing. But if you wanted cable or satellite, whatever, I'll just lump them in under the term cable. If you wanted that, it was all or nothing, and you had all this content, and you had to pay a bunch of money for it. And now all that content has scattered, and so now, and it doesn't look quite the same as it did before, but there are some similarities, and so you have Netflix and Apple TV Plus now, and Disney Plus, and well, Hulu we can throw in with Disney Plus, but you got Amazon, and plus you've got all the other channel apps, the CW or CNN or ESPN Plus, whatever it is that you want to watch. There's a streaming app for that now. And I love this kind of the democratization of content, where we all get to decide for ourselves on an individual basis which ones are worth signing up for and which ones we feel like skipping. There are downsides that come with this, but for the most part, I think I am pretty on board with this idea of all the streaming services. Put them all out there and let us decide which ones are worth hanging on to, which ones are worth supporting, and which ones we want to dump. So, Kamran, you missed the last two videos. Well, you missed some good ones. You can go back and watch them. But we did a giveaway on Friday that, obviously if you missed it, you missed it. But yeah, we've done some fun live streams lately. And today, hopefully it's, like I said, it's going to be a little bit more relaxed live stream, but hopefully there will be a little bit of info for you to decide whether you're excited for Apple TV Plus or not. And I'm going to solicit your questions when we get to the end to find out what it is that you want to know about Apple TV Plus, what sort of questions I can answer. The first question that I got already was how it will appear on your device. So I'm going to write down all of your questions and make sure that I answer those on Friday when I do that review of Apple TV Plus. Okay. RexRoad22, when will cable truly die? I actually have a video coming out on... Oh, no, I'm filming it this week. I've still got to write it. And so I'm filming a video about what will happen, what may happen, I should say, to live TV going forward, and how long live TV is going to be a thing. And so watch out for that. It is something that I want to get into. Okay, so let's talk about Apple TV Plus and everything that we know about it. Here, let me pull up the screen here. So let's start with what it's going to cost you. Like I said, it's coming out on Friday, November 1st, so that's just this week. We are right there. The pricing on this, $4.99 a month, and you don't have to pay that price if you have purchased a new device. iPhone, iPad, Mac, or I believe MacBook is in there as well, and an Apple TV. So if you buy one of those devices, you don't have to pay for the first year, and then it'll be $4.99 a month, presumably. I mean, who knows if the price will go up after a little while. If you want to try it out, you can do a 7-day free trial. So that's what we know so far. Kamran, I am going to get to the supported devices. In fact, maybe we can pop over and look at that right now. There are not going to be any ads on Apple TV Plus. Sorry, Apple TV Plus. No ads. You can watch it on Apple devices, Fire TV, Roku, and then a few select smart TVs. These are newer smart TVs. So if you have an older one, it may not support Apple TV Plus. It'll depend. I couldn't, put the whole list here on the screen, but you can go check and see if your model would be compatible with it. Oh, whoops. I missed a G in Samsung. Well, you know what I meant. Anyway, so there will be quite a few different ways to watch that. Now, as far as getting those devices, like with the Apple devices, you get the 1 year free. These devices that you're watching it on, Apple devices, if you think about it this way, I bought an iPad for $400. Buy an iPhone, it's $800 to $1,000. Depending on the model you get. You get an Apple TV 4K is $200, so that's one of the cheaper options. And then Macs and MacBooks, those are crazy expensive, so those don't count. But let's take the Apple TV. If you get the Apple TV for $200, you get 1 year free. And I'm rounding up. I think you can get them for like $180, kind of depending on the size and all that stuff. But let's say $200, and you get Apple TV Plus for free for 1 year. That's $5 a month. 12 months, $60. So you're essentially, like, with those devices, you can take $60 off the price if Apple TV Plus is something that you think you're going to use, right? So if you're not going to use it, then it doesn't matter that you got it for free because you're not using it. But if you got an Apple TV, there's a good chance you're going to use Apple TV Plus. So, you can think of it like a $60 discount on those devices. Not too bad. Oh, Chris, Apple said refurbished counts too. I hadn't heard that. That's a great tidbit. Thank you. Refurbished stuff. So if you buy refurbished, apparently that counts. That's good. Okay, so we've got the devices, we've got the ads. Here's a few more facts. Simultaneous streams. This is always a big question. I don't believe they've said anything about sharing your passwords with people outside the home, so I don't know about that. Of course, all of these streaming services frown on that, and they ask you not to do it, but very seldom is that enforced. But in this case, they do say, hey, with your family sharing on Apple, you can get six simultaneous streams, or 6 accounts using this at the same time. So if you're not familiar with an Apple account, you can do family sharing, so that across different devices you can share, apps and content across those. And so through that mechanism, you can use Apple TV Plus across 6 different devices through family sharing. Then, as far as the quality, the streaming quality on this, it is going to be in 4K. They said every title is in 4K. Most of the titles will have Dolby Atmos sound support. And then the last thing, we're going to get to content in a moment. So that's part of the reason why I think some of those older devices, like, they say some select smart TVs and that sort of thing, they're not going to put it on every TV because not every device, not every smart TV would support the picture quality that I think they would want to put out there, right? So that's something to consider. Now, as far as content, this is the big one. We've talked about price. I think the two big facts to know are the price and the content. What are you getting for the price? So for $4.99 a month, you get no licensed content. What that means is, there's original content and licensed content. If you're not familiar with it, think of Netflix, where they have Netflix originals like Stranger Things. Okay, so that is a Netflix-produced title. They own it. They own all the rights. They own the distribution forever and ever. Licensed content would be like, you've heard of Friends leaving Netflix. Friends is on Netflix, but it's gone at the end of this year. The Office is leaving Netflix. Those are licensed content. And so Apple TV Plus is not licensing any content. They're only doing their original stuff, at least for now. I mean, I guess we'll see, but I haven't heard any plans to do anything else. And they are spending a lot of money on their own content. So no licensed content. And what you are going to get on day one is these shows. 9 shows. Dickinson, it's a half-hour kind of irreverent comedy about Emily Dickinson. Could be good, I guess. The morning show is a drama, kind of about it's like a Me Too drama about a morning news show where Steve Carell kind of plays a Matt Lauer type character who gets in trouble for doing awful things and so repercussions and all that stuff. So that could be interesting. C, with Jason Momoa, I've seen a few of you mention that in the comments as well. C, this is Jason Momoa. It's a post-apocalyptic drama where mankind has lost the ability to see. And then I believe it's Jason Momoa's child is born able to see. And so everybody's after the kid, and he's got to protect the child and all that. I don't know. It looks pretty interesting. It's a high concept show. We'll see if it's any good. For All Mankind it stars Joel Kinnaman. So you might remember him from the RoboCop reboot or Altered Carbon on Netflix, a few other things. And it's kind of an alternate history show, similar to Man in the High Castle. But in this case, the Russians got to the moon first, and the space race never ended, and it's still going on. And another high concept, interesting thing. So those are the 4 big shows that are coming out. The Elephant Queen is a documentary program. Helpsters is a Sesame Street spinoff. Ghost Rider is a reboot from the 90s, if you recall that. If you're my age, then you might remember that one. Snoopy in Space, I think that's like an educational program about Snoopy in space. And then Oprah's Book Club, pretty self-explanatory. But those first 4 are their biggest titles that they're pushing, that they want people to see. Hey, look at how much money we're spending. Look at these stars that we got. Well, okay, Oprah counts for that too, I suppose. But anyway, with those, the plan is to release the first 3 episodes of those shows on Friday. So on November 1st, you'll be able to watch the first 3 episodes, and then it'll be a weekly release. And this is how they're going to keep you coming back, is with weekly releases. And there may be some questions. I haven't been watching the chat box, so I apologize if I missed anything. But there may be some question about, is that it? This is all that we're getting on Apple TV Plus? And the answer is yes. That is all that we're getting on Apple TV Plus on day one. There have been 30 titles announced, I think a little more than 30 now, that have been announced but that are not yet ready for release. And I would wager, I don't know this, I don't have any inside information, but if I were on a fly on the wall of the Apple boardroom or something, then I would bet that you'd hear a conversation that went something like, boy, I wish we could hold off and that we didn't have to release this until we were ready. They would probably want 30 shows to release on day one, but with Disney Plus coming in 2 weeks, they've got to get a move on. They've got to get Apple TV Plus out and get a little bit of buzz, a little bit of publicity before Disney Plus comes and steamrolls everything. Disney Plus, of course, is going to be huge. And so Apple TV Plus had to get out ahead of that. They needed some good press. And so that's why, they were pushing these big kind of marquee programs like The Morning Show and C. And that's why I think they set the price at $4.99. First of all, they're Apple. They can afford to do that. But second of all, they had to create headlines that said it's even cheaper than Disney Plus, because Disney Plus was getting all the headlines for setting their price really low at $7 a month. So anyway, that's the state of things right now. Let me go check the chat box. If you have questions, send them over there. I apologize, I haven't been watching it super closely. And so yeah, so resubmit your questions if you have them. Anyway, so let's see. I did see Cozy said that's it. That's trash. Well, I don't know. The shows do look pretty good. And that's why I say I'm cautiously excited about Apple TV Plus. The shows that they have announced do look well done. They've certainly put a lot of money into them. That doesn't guarantee quality, of course, but they at least look good, right? So, yeah, it's a little disappointing the number that we're getting, but it could turn out to be pretty darn good. Anyway, all right. I need to shut off this. There's a window that's making noise. Okay, so let's see. That's why Apple will not buy View. They want that control. The big four that I mentioned all look good, Richard. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Wait half a year and then decide. I think that's going to be what a lot of people do, David. I think that a lot of people will do exactly that. I don't know about half a year, but maybe give it a month or 3 months and wait for all the reviews to come in, see if they get any buzz. If they can't, and if Disney Plus truly does suck up all the oxygen in the room as far as new streaming services, then it could take a long time for Apple TV Plus to really get running. What they're going to have to do is, I'm sure that they hope one of these 4 shows, they're going to hope that Dickinson, the morning show, C, or All Mankind, for All Mankind, it's one of those shows that they're hoping is a new Game of Thrones. If I were to guess, they're putting most of their money on the morning show. They really want that one to take off and be, the thing that the water cooler show that people want to talk about. If they can get one of those, if they can pull that off, then they are going to bring in a bunch of subscribers, people who feel like they need to see the morning show. Could be one of the others, but I think that's the one that they're putting the most eggs in that basket, right? Let's see. How did you get it for free for a year, Carrie Ann? You can get it here. Let me actually pull that up here. You can get it free for 1 year when you buy a new Apple device, right? iPhone, iPad, Mac, MacBook, Apple TV. So that is that's how people are getting it free for a year. So I said this earlier, but I'm not entirely sure what the rules are there. I haven't heard the exact details on whether it's only devices that are new after November 1st, which I doubt, or what the cutoff date is. Because I bought this iPad, I don't know, a little less than a month ago probably, and so it's like I don't know, does it count? So I'm gonna wake up really early on Friday morning, just for you guys. I'm gonna wake up early and see if I can access Apple TV Plus, what I have to do to get in there, whether I need to sign up, even though I just bought this iPad. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see. Okay, Paul, bought your new iPhone 11 yesterday. Woo! I've got this thing. Sorry, this is a bit of a digression. I hope you guys will forgive me. I have this idea for a national holiday, and it's a floating holiday, right? So it's not on the same day. It's a different day for everybody. But the day that you buy the day after you buy a new phone should be called New Phone Day. And it's a national holiday, and if you have the receipt to prove that you just bought a new phone, then you get the next day off of work so that you can just bond with your new phone. I think this is a winning idea, and this is me launching my presidential campaign on this platform and this platform alone, that we should have a new device day, probably new phone day, but I think it would count for like a new laptop as well, or new iPad. That'd be pretty cool. So, happy new phone day, Paul. I hope it's awesome for you. Okay, where were we? Was there anything else that we needed to go over with Apple TV Plus? Oh, good. Okay, Brendan, you found something that I didn't. I admit my research was pretty quick. Any new device bought after Apple's September 10th iPhone event will be eligible for the free 1-year Apple TV Plus subscription. Perfect. And that's kind of what I suspected, but I hadn't. I didn't watch that announcement. Bad Apple fan. Bad. I didn't watch that announcement. So, I watched the one earlier in the summer when they announced Apple TV Plus, and it was so horrifically boring that I couldn't bring myself to watch that one. So, okay. Just checking out the chat box here, making sure that I'm not missing anything. Pretty sure, Edward says, pretty sure you have to buy the device from Apple itself. For instance, buying a phone from your cell phone provider won't count. Oh, interesting. I wonder about that. Huh. Okay. Derek says they spent a lot of money on those actors. You think Reese Witherspoon gets out of bed for anything less than $1 million? I doubt it. All right. And that's cheap, right? That's per episode, right? We'll see. So, all right, that is everything that we know. I'll about Apple TV Plus. I'll pull up this screen again and kind of run through this so that if you have just joined, you can kind of see some of the slides that we went through. Everything that we know about Apple TV Plus as far as pricing, $4.99 a month. You can do a 7-day free trial. No ads on this. Here are the devices that you reportedly will be able to watch it on. When I mentioned Fire TV devices like Fire TV and Roku, those are the devices themselves, not the smart TVs necessarily. Although some smart TVs running Fire TV or Roku will be able to handle it, but it's generally going to be newer models of those. Of those smart TVs. Then a few other random facts. You will be able to share through family sharing. You can share your login and the Apple TV Plus content, but no word on exactly how password sharing is going to be enforced and all of that. All of the shows will be in 4K. Most of them will support Dolby Atmos sound, and there will be no licensed content. Everything on day one is right here on the screen. It's these shows and nothing else on day one. There will be more stuff coming out later in November. There are titles slated for December. But as far as what you're going to be able to watch this week, this is it. And you can go check out, there are some reviews, early reviews already of those top 4 programs, Dickinson, Morning Show, C, and For All Mankind. So some of those reviews are out. If you're interested, you can go look them up. But I'll be doing my own. I think I'll try to watch at least an episode of each of those, but I am going to be reviewing it that day, so we'll see how much I can get through. Oh, good. Osvaldo says Dickinson will have the entire first season day one. That's good. The other 3 then are showing 3 episodes on day one and the rest as a weekly release. That's interesting because Dickinson is the only, I believe it's the only half-hour program slated, at least of those 4. Sorry, I should clarify that. It's a half-hour kind of comedy. I think it's in the vein of like Yorgos Lanthimos. What was that movie? I watched The Lobster. That's how I know Yorgos Lanthimos. I hated that movie. But what was the one that just came out last year? Somebody tell me in the chat. Anyway, so yeah, that should be an interesting one. Okay. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. No, I want also to get your suggestions. So what I want, am I a TV critic now, CT? I am not a TV critic. But I will at least give you my opinion on whether the slate on day one makes it makes Apple TV Plus a must-see, run out and subscribe day one, So I'm not going to give you some nuanced critique of all of these programs, but I'll give you my general impressions. It's whatever. If I can get paid to do that, I'm gonna watch TV, right? Okay, so I want to hear your questions. What other questions you have that I can look into on Friday when this comes out, and I give it a shot early that morning. So go ahead and hit the chat box. We'll keep this stream going for a few more minutes while you guys get your questions in and let me know. So, okay. Let's see. Kamran says, C is the only show that I was excited to see. I see what you did there. Android TV boxes. No. The only word right now is that is not going to be that is not part of their device list. So if you're talking about things like the NVIDIA Shield, no, that has not been included on Apple TV Plus's list of available devices. So sorry about that. Avinash says, Apple sucks. Well, tell us how you feel. Tell us how you really feel. Snoopy looks good, says Astro Josh. Well, how about I write down, is Snoopy good? Let's find out. I'll see if I can answer that question. It does look like fun. Disney Plus is clearly going to be the best. Well, we'll see. I think it's going to be better than Apple TV Plus right out of the gate. But we'll see how they perform over the long haul. So Apple doesn't, they don't do things halfway, right? So they're going to be, if they're going to jump in, they're not going to jump in, half-heartedly. They're going to cannonball that. So let's see, any other questions? I'll give you just a couple more minutes to get your questions in. But my voice is already starting to go. It's been a rough Monday morning, apparently. Let's see. When will the 20th Century Fox stuff come to Hulu? I have no idea because I haven't looked into that yet. Because today we're doing Apple TV Plus. So that one I can't answer. Any other questions about Apple TV Plus that you want to know before you subscribe? Before you decide whether it's worth it to subscribe? I suspect that most of the questions will be around the content itself and whether these shows are going to be any good. That's going to be the number one question. And that's why, even though I'm no TV critic, I'll at least give you my opinion on whether they make it worth it. So let's see. Do you get it free with Apple device? Yep, we kind of talked about that a little bit earlier. You do get it free with these Apple devices. So November 1st, am I going live? I will not be going live on November 1st. I will be recording a review that I will release that day. And so I've got my producer coming over, and this is my home studio. I'm literally going to just do this at home. I'm going to wake up early in the morning, come out here to the home studio, and watch Apple TV Plus for a while, test it out on lots of different devices, and then he's going to come over, we're going to record something, and edit it, put it together, and put it out that day. So if you haven't hit the bell icon, the notification icon next to the subscribe button, make sure that you do so if you are curious to hear about Apple TV Plus day of. Let's see, Arcelia Gutierrez, can you give me your Disney Plus details? As in my login? No, you can't have that. If you're curious about what we think about it and what is coming up, you can hear about that. We've done lots of Disney Plus videos. Go check through our archives on our channel, and you can go see those. Let's see. A lot of Disney Plus questions. I know what you guys all care about. Which show do I recommend that you watch first on Apple TV Plus, Hector? That's a good question. Okay, I can look into that. Like I said, I'll have an opinion there. I have an opinion on everything. That's what I do, apparently. Okay. Apple has all new shows. Disney has mostly reruns. Well, mostly, I suppose that is technically true that it's mostly reruns, but you're talking about thousands of titles, or thousands of episodes and movies, versus 9, right? And so it's a little bit unfair because Disney Plus does have quite a few new programs coming out at launch. It's at least equal to Apple TV Plus, but then they have their entire backlog on top of that. Apple obviously doesn't have a content backlog like Disney does, so a little bit of an unfair comparison, but there you have it. So NGU, how much spent on actors? I don't know. I have no earthly idea how much they spent to get all these actors. Okay. M. Night is the only one you're surprised they got. Aren't most of his movies very badly reviewed? Most of his later ones are, but his early ones are amazing. So, yeah, if he's going to pick it back up, then more power to him. Okay, Apple TV Plus looks more sophisticated. Well, that's Apple's brand, isn't it? Right there, luxury brand. They say, you can go drive a Ford, and that's Netflix or Disney Plus, or you can drive a Lexus, or whatever your luxury brand of choice is. So that's Apple's brand. All right, so we will see how Apple TV Plus does on Friday. Like I said, I won't be going live, but I will be bringing you a review that day. So make sure you stay tuned for that. On Wednesday, I've got... Let me see if I can find the title. That's right. Yeah, I'm doing I'm doing a video on Wednesday called "Is Netflix Gonna Die? Is Netflix About to Die?" So I'll be diving into that on Wednesday. Make sure you stick around for that video. And I really appreciate all you guys logging in here. Make sure you check the description below. We've got the Disney Plus Dream Job. If you haven't applied for that, make sure you do so. Make sure you go to Reviews.org to hear or to read more about home tech and home services, not just streaming, but also home security and TV and internet and all sorts of stuff that we review over at Reviews.org. So go check that out, and I will see you for the next live stream, which will be next Monday.